Hello for the most holy body and blood of Christ Sunday. Using sort of referring to the 1 Corinthians 11:23 to 26, the Eucharist, and then Luke 9:11 to 17. This feast day where we try to celebrate that we become one with Jesus because he gives us his body and blood. How this happens, I don't completely understand or know, but it does. And it's real. And we call it the Eucharist. It's the heart of our religion. 2 points. One is on compassion, and the other is on communion. And they're interrelated. Well, first of all, we're reading in our book club this book called where is it? Tattoos on the Heart. And chapter 3, and we did it this week, was compassion. And I just find it unbelievably good. Compassion. It really comes from a Greek word, passeo, which means to suffer. And then there's two Latin words with compassion. Cum is cum in Latin, with, and a passion is the passeo, to suffer. So it means to be and to suffer with the other person, with the other situation. And in this book by this Father Gregory Doyle, a Jesuit, Tattoos on the Heart, for 20 years he spent his service or his ministry to the gangs in Los Angeles. I want to read you just a little bit about this. It says, for 20 years, Gregory Boyle has run Homeboy Industries, a gang intervention program located in Boyle Heights neighborhood of Los Angeles, the gang capital of the world. In Tattoos on the Heart, he distills his experience working in the ghetto into a breathtaking series of parables inspired by faith. Arranged by theme and filled with sparkling humor and glowing generosity, these essays offer a stirring look at how fully our lives could be if we could find the joy in loving others and being loved unconditional. And then it says these essays about universal kinship and redemption are moving examples of power of unconditional love and so forth. But this one chapter about compassion really hit me because my old idea of compassion, and maybe today's idea of compassion relative to the Eucharist. My old idea is, yes, and to suffer with the other person, passion, with passion for the other. But my old idea pretty much was that I would do it from afar or from a distance. That I could be and look at that person on the street corner or that hurting person from afar and have a feeling and a suffering with, but it always was from afar or from a distance. But I've learned in this book here, as far as this guy lived with, befriended, accepted, saw and became at one with these people. And he didn't do it from afar. He didn't do it from a distance. He did it with them for 20 years. And I find that mind-boggling. To suffer with the other person, not from afar, not from a distance, to be one with. Like Jesus did. And I always say, like the people do here in the city of Lexington, at the Catholic Action or someplace like that. They're not from a distance, from afar. They're there with people, like Jesus. Jesus just didn't observe the scribes and the Pharisees. Jesus did not just see and observe the blind man. He had compassion. He was with him. Jesus did not just observe the woman at the well with six husbands. Jesus did not observe and be compassionate for Peter when he denied him 3 times. Jesus did not see and experience the good thief on the cross next to him from afar, but he became one with him. And you can go on and on and on about Jesus, that he could resonate, he could join the other person and give himself to the other person, not from a distance, but a closeness and a reality. And so too, I think it is with true compassion, that he suffered with and for us and enable us to be one with him. And in another special way that I said I can't understand, but it's true. Jesus is compassionate for you and for me, and Jesus is with you and me, and gives me and you not only this compassion from a distance in all walks of life, but in a very special way. When he gives us his body and his blood in Holy Communion. The word itself, communion, is to be united with, with, communion, union, or united with. That's how Jesus acted, and that's how he does it. How he does it, I don't know. I just know. I just believe because he said it. And so to try to live as a compassionate person applies to all people, not Catholics or just Roman Catholics or just Christians. It applies to everybody. That we're called to suffer with, be with, and even be united with other people. Jesus does this in Holy Communion, or his most body and blood. And keep in mind, folks, you might not understand it, but when you receive Jesus Christ in a most holy communion, the most holy body and blood of Christ, you receive him. And you don't just take him in so that he becomes a part of you. Huh? That's what this Father Jesuit Boyle does, that he sort of would take them in or go in. Jesus goes in you. And the bottom line or the bottom principle is the greater absorbs the lesser. So when you receive his body and blood, you don't just take him in like an apple or a steak and then he becomes part of you. No, no, no. The greater absorbs the lesser. He absorbs you. He gives you his body and blood. He makes you one with him. And he's the greater. And that's why and how it happens. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. I don't know, but it just does. It's the heart of our religion, which is, in a sense, abstract, but it's the heart of reality. When you and I, when the atheist, when the humanist, when the Muslim, when the Jew, when the Christian, when the Catholic, when whoever is able to be compassionate with the other person, from his wife to her husband, to the person next door, the person on the block to work, wherever. The compassion that Jesus had, we are called to have. to suffer with the other person, and not just at a distance, but to be one with them. Have a good day.